Hello everyone, I am Slow Rider, this is my world. Welcome, one and all. How are we doing? Another glorious day, I hope? We'll see. It's a little bit cloudy ahead and that's the way I'm going, so that's not great. But for you, I hope it's wonderful. Today, I'm off to see my nan. Well, sort of. It would have been her 102nd birthday today. She is 6 feet under, but I haven't been able to go and visit for 2 years, so yeah. I'm going to do that. Yeah, I should have visited my nan more when she was alive. I regret that decision in a way. But you can't change history. What's happened has happened. Now she's passed. Yeah. Anyway, on a slightly brighter note, on my way down there, I've decided I'm going to let Kalimoto give me a slightly curvier route than I normally take. Normally it's something pretty basic like A34, A50, A38, A5. You see, I'm in Greater Manchester, she's in Hertfordshire. Kind of explains why I didn't see her quite so often as I probably should have, but there you go, it's one of those things, you know, you got to move on. She died about 6 years ago, so pre-COVID, nothing to do with COVID, thankfully. In a way, I very much wanted her to live to see her 100th, but at the same time, I wouldn't have wanted her to go through anything right now. You know, it's a crappy world at the minute. Anyway, I'm going to slowly tell you about the last 5 months of insurance hell. More town. So this started, I say, 5 months ago. Just about to start my journey home from work. Literally. And getting on my bike, get out of the car park. There's a car in the road. Stopped. So I think, okay, stop myself. See what's going on. See what he's going to do. And I'm just about stationary, and he puts it in reverse and off he goes. Straight into me. There starts, sorry for the burp, there starts a 5-month story. Pain and suffering. There wasn't much pain. I was kind of injured, not much. There is a personal injury thing which is just about being sorted out. But that's not the bit I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to be talking about the bit about the bike. Because it's still off the road. Yeah, that's right. 5 months. A cautionary tale, to be sure, so be careful who you pick for your insurers. I picked, wonderful choice now I think about it, MCE. There's a popular name right now. That's the wrong gear. Anyway, so I didn't know how bad MCE was. It was by far the cheapest option at the time. That's why I went with it. We're a bit bumpy. Anyway, phoned up my insurance company, and they said, right, as you believe, it's a no claim on your part, and bearing in mind, the guy said at the time it was his fault. As you think it's a no claim, we'll pass you on to a no claim specialist. This is normal. They get someone completely impartial, allegedly, to check that your claim is in fact legitimately no fault. I have no problem with this. But they go through all the questions, you know, all the usual spiel. What happened? Were you wearing a helmet? What were the conditions like? Were there any witnesses? All that sort of stuff. Oh, there's a view. And yeah, then they pass me on to the no-fault people, and the no-fault people ask me basically all those same questions. Now, I'm quite fortunate because I had the camera on my helmet here, so I was able to say that whilst there were no witnesses, there is video evidence. A cautionary note here. If you submit video evidence of the accident, that doesn't just work for you, it also works against you. So if you have done something wrong, you are providing evidence of it. Now in my case, the no fault people said it's definitely no fault. But we'll come to that. So yeah, I'm still sitting at work, and the no fault people say, hey, you know, is your bike in a safe place? I said, well, yeah, it's at work at the minute. I said, okay. Is there any chance you can get it home? Well, really, it's a little bit broken on the fairings. Fairings are broken, they're hanging off. Wouldn't really be safe. Right. This is the first bit of bad news, and believe me, it's a long tail of bad news. But first bit of bad news. Our deal with MCE means that we cannot recover your vehicle from where it is. You need to get it home. Oh. Okay, fair enough. Fine. I'm only 11 miles from home, but no, it's fine. It's fine, just... It's fine. He says, I'll call you back in a couple of days. If you've managed to get it home, we'll arrange recovery from there. If you have not managed to get it home, we will see what we can do for you. Whatever happens, if you incur any charges, keep any receipts. Okay. Fine. So, I'm in touch with my girlfriend at the time, and she says, well, if you're still there, because, I mean, at this point I've been at my work site 2 or 3 hours after I'm due to have finished work. Oh, this could be fun. Oh, Jesus, talk about blind fucking crests. So, yeah, she says, if you're still there when I get there, my dad will, you know, Dad's picking me up, he'll bring some tape, and we can tape the fairings up, and we can see if it's rideable in the car park, and, well, actually, no, I suggested I could test it right in the car park, so are you sure that's safe, etc., etc. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, it's small details. The point is, I'm still there when she gets there, and, yeah. Get some tape, we tape up the fairings, I give it a quick ride around the car park, and I think that feels alright. It doesn't feel great, obviously, because I've got a taped up fairing on the left hand side of my bike, but yeah, it's fine. So I ride it home. Probably shouldn't have. Don't know what's wrong with it really at this point, but I ride it home. It feels okay. As promised, a couple of days later, they phoned back and said, "Did you manage to get your bike home?" "Yes, managed to get my bike home." "Oh, good, jolly good. So, minor issue," he says. "I'm informed that our deal with MCE is that we cannot pick your bike up at all." Not even from home. So I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Believe me, this is not the end of the bad news. But he says, "We'll get in touch with your insurance people and they will get back to you in the next few days, possibly 4 days, and they'll arrange something." Oh, okay, fine, no problem. No problem at all. Yeah. 4 days pass. Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. Right, let this guy go when I've got a chance. Not having him sitting on my arse. So, 4 days go past, hear nothing. So I figure, well, give them a few more days, because you know how it takes sometimes. They take a couple of days. You know, give them a little bit of grace period. I don't want to seem like I'm shouting down their neck or anything like that. 7 days, nothing. So I get hold of the number again, give them a call. And it's an automated service, there's no one to speak to. And it's a callback service. We'll call you back within 24 hours. So I leave my number and they say, "Fine, here's your time period for when we will call you." The following day at about 5 PM. That's a little bit naughty, never mind. So, yeah. Oh wait, and to be fair, they got back to me within a couple of hours. It wasn't the next day, it was literally a couple of hours later. And the guy says to, go through the security questions, and the guy says, "So, I'm pretty sure I know why you're calling. But for the purposes of the recorded phone call, can you, let me know what the problem is?" I said, "Been waiting for a phone call for you for a week now. The other guys, the no-fault people, couldn't pick it up. Waiting for this phone call." Yeah, I thought that's what it was." He says, "There's a slight issue," and of course there is. There's a slight issue. This is how good MCE is. It says, "We've confirmed that it's a no-fault claim." That's fine, he says. "You got no problems there. We do not have a no-faults team." So as you can imagine, I was not impressed with that statement. They don't have a no-faults team. What does this mean? Well, basically, according to this chap, I'm on my own. They cannot process my claim any further. If I wish to process the claim, or proceed with it, I should say, I can either talk to their insurance company directly, and I can't remember who theirs is at this point, or I can go through solicitors and go through a ULR, an uninsured loss recovery. This doesn't mean that I don't have insurance or they don't have insurance. It basically means that anything that's not covered by your insurance can be claimed through this process. That's the idea. Great. Now, fortunately, I've already got a personal injury thing going on through a solicitor, so I figure, but I'd give them a bit more work to do. We'll just do it that way. What the hell? So it says, yeah, I'll go take the solicitor option. Fine. He says, okay, they'll be in touch in a couple of days. That's worrying for a start, I've got to be honest. But to be fair, they did make a couple of attempts to get in touch. I was at work. They seem to always call, this solicitors group, they seem to always call when I'm at work. It's like they finish work at midday. Anyway, eventually I get hold of them, and yeah, you go through the details again, sending them a video again, going through all the details again. Now, what we'll say at this point in regards to the solicitors, and I'm not going to name them because I think that would be a little bit harsh, but they kept sending me emails telling me they'd try to call me, and 50% of the time they had made no such attempt. But from here on in, the news does start to get slightly better. Slightly. Not much. Yeah. Solicitors, when they get hold of them, say, okay, we've gone through all the forms, we will put a notice into them to seek formal admission of liability on their part. This can take several weeks. No shit. They can do one of two things legally. If they don't do them, then we have another course of action to follow. So they will do one of these things. They can either admit liability, or they can question it. They can send questions to ask to determine liability, or indeed say we're not at fault here, or we're partially at fault and we'll accept for this bit and that bit. Fine, okay, so I've now got more weeks. More weeks. We are now from the end of August, when the accident happened, literally the end of August. The first indication from the other party comes in mid-October. And that indication is we have some questions. Who can see that one coming? We have some questions. Were you wearing a helmet? Were you wearing safety gear? Were you stationary? Basically all the stuff that was already in the report. And this does seem like a, ooh, we better hold on a little bit and see what's going on kind of thing. So in that sense it's deliberate, but I wouldn't go as far as to say malicious. It's a nice view. But it means that this gets dragged on again. More weeks of waiting. More weeks of waiting. More weeks of waiting. And then out of the blue, and I've got to say, communication not great at this point, and I'm getting a little bit miffed with the way communication's going. But out of the blue, Tuesday morning, it was a Tuesday, I remember clear as day that it was a Tuesday morning, and there are reasons that I remember that. I'm at work, it's 10 in the morning. Hello, mate. Phone call. Hello, mate. I'm an engineer who's been advised by your solicitors to come and have a look at your bike to assess what damage has been done. Are you at home? The number of times I've told the solicitors I don't get home till gone too. But apparently this message has not been forwarded to the engineer guy, or maybe he's trying his luck. I don't know. I say, no, I'm at work at the minute. Normally home at 2, but I might be able to get back for 1:30. He says, oh no, I've got to be back at the office for 1:30. Are you going to be available later in the week? Maybe another day might be of use. It might be easier for you. I said, well, I'm in work pretty much all week. So, you know, I'll be home at 2. Can be home for 1:30 if I know which day it is you're coming. Oh, okay, well, we'll try on Thursday or Friday then. Okay, no problem. No problem. Thursday rolls round, and at about 10:30 I get a phone call. Oh mate, it's the engineer. Got to look at your bike. Are you in the area? You at home? Well, no, I'm at work, mate. I'm at work till, you know, I'll probably be home at, what, 1:30 maybe? Oh, yeah, no, I've got to be back in the office by then. Will you be about tomorrow? Friday. I can be home for 1:30. Okay, mate. Speak to you tomorrow then. We'll see what we can do. Next day rolls around, and yes. Hello, mate. Engineer. On the phone again. This is about midday, so to be fair, he might have learnt something. I'm in the area. Just wondered if you're home. I said, could be home for 1:30. He said, okay, no problem. I can stick around for that. No problem at all. Ah, positive news at last. It's a bit windier than I thought it would be. So I get home, and he sees me arrive, and he walks up and says, yeah, you know, hello, engineer, come to have a look at the bike. Oh, okay, grand. So I'm putting this bike away at this point. And he says, so is that a hire bike? I will get onto hire bikes. Is that a hire bike? No, it's my bike. Oh, right, okay, cool. The one that's broken is this one here. Oh, okay, cool, no problem. Take the cover off, take the locks off, move it into a position where you can look at it better. And he's, you know, he starts looking at it, and I say, so, have you had an estimate done on the bike for repairs? I said, no. No estimate's done yet. Okay. So, but I've been looking at parts. I've got a rough idea of how much things cost, but I don't know whether it includes VAT or not. Okay, no problem. So, what do you think? I said, well, this part, this part, this part, this part, this part. Listing all the parts that I think are damaged. He's looking, oh, okay. But you're making notes. And how much did you think it would come to? Well, I said about 1,500 quid. So, but I genuinely don't know whether that includes VAT or not. Okay, no problem. Thanks very much, he says, and trundles off. He does give me 3 snippets of information though, because he says my bike's repairable. It's the first one he's seen today that's repairable, so that's good. Oh, okay, cool. He says, if it's going to be written off, they're looking at 3 things. 3 things. So bear this in mind, people. This is important. If the frame is damaged, it's written off. No questions asked. And to be fair, the frame is the bike. So, you know, you can't have a triggers broom situation. That's the one part you can't replace. Because if you do, it becomes a new bike. Two, rear swing arm. If the rear swing arm is damaged, Right off. They will not repair the bike. Apparently. I kind of understand this because the rear swing arm is going to be an expensive piece of kit, and it's going to take a lot of work to actually get the thing in and out, so, you know, on and off the bike. So yeah, I can understand why that would be your write-off territory. The third thing, he says, front forks. If the front forks are damaged, write off. I can kind of understand where they come from on that one. However, I do think that front forks is something that can be repaired. But apparently, no. If they are damaged, write off. Fine. Anyway, Citron is off on his merry way. And about midweek the next week, get an email through from the solicitors and they say, yeah, we've got the engineer's report, we need you to look at it and tell us whether you think it's accurate. And I'm going to say right now, look at that thing damn close. If you ever get to see one, look at it damn close. Make sure that everything you've said that's wrong with the bike is on there as wrong with the bike, because this is your chance to disagree with it. I didn't look at it closely enough. There's one piece of kit he didn't put on as damaged. The headlight. Doesn't matter. Does not matter in the slightest. Not really. So I say, yeah, no problem. Fine. And then I hear nothing for a short while. Anyway, radio goes silent for a little bit longer. Not hearing a thing. Then again, out of the blue, they've admitted liability. We'll get the engineer's reports across to them. All the other personal injury stuff. We're also going to put you in touch with a doctor with regards to the personal injury thing. That's okay, I guess. And sure enough, that stuff happens, but the personal injury stuff not really important at this point. So at least I know things are rolling, I guess. That's a start, right? December 24th. December 24th. I actually get a phone call from them and they say, okay, they've sent a check to us. We've now got to bank the check, and when the check is cleared, we'll give you some money. It's not going to be the full amount, it's going to be minus VAT. That's standard, they say. But it is the money for parts and labour and so on. It's just when you get the bill, keep the receipt, pass it on to us. So yeah, December 24th, they give me a phone call, they say the check's here. We need to put that into our bank. When it's cleared, we'll send you a bank transfer. So please send us your bank details. Which I duly did. Obviously, being Christmas time, things take a little bit longer to get cleared. So yes, January 10th, two things happen. Actually, one might have been slightly before January the 10th. The first, obviously, is that I get my bank transfer through, so I've got the money. Great! I can go and get bike bits now. Not so fast. My local dealership is no longer a Honda dealership. Now, to be fair, there are plenty of other Honda dealerships around I could go to, but all I want to do is buy bits, and it seems a bit cheeky to just turn up somewhere wanting to buy bits from them and not actually give their mechanics something to do. So I go into my dealership and said, "Oh no, you're not Honda anymore, but can you still get the parts?" And he said, "Well, we'll use this website, which you could use anyway, so, you know, no offence, but you could, by the time we've ordered it, put our profit on top and then sell it to you, you know, even we've given you a discount for being such a loyal and wonderful person, you're going to be paying the same. So, you know, given that you're going to have to get the parts home, you might as well do it yourself." Which is fine. I mean, I'm putting my own particular bias on that statement. It sounds like he's being really dismissive if he wasn't. Anyway, he sends me a link to my email address for my bike. Yeah. Now, to be fair to him, my bike is a 68 plate bike. So naturally he sends me the link to the 2018 CBR 500R. Now, those of you who know the CBR 500R at all will know that in 2019 they redesigned it slightly. And part of that redesign was basically all of the fairings. So that website's no good to me because they don't stock parts for the 2019 model, so I'm back to square one. Go to a Honda dealership, an actual Honda dealership, or try and find a website for myself that would do the parts. I decided to do the latter. This may have been a mistake. But I'm thinking it's fine, you know, I know the bike. I know the parts I need. I know where they are in all the diagrams because I've been able to look up that sort of thing, so no problem, so fine. Go on the website, and of course you've got different colours for the bikes, for the fairing parts. So yeah, I'm looking at these part numbers and I'm thinking, okay, the individual part numbers I've worked out there's a code for which colour you need. Unfortunately, Honda are not very forthcoming on which colours are which, because next to the colour code, and you can tell there are definitely different colours, it says Type 1, Type 2, Type 3. And obviously Honda dealerships are going to be told what colour parts are what type and what therefore what they need and so on and so forth. So I'm trying to find out what's what. I joined a user group, seem like a friendly bunch of people, you know, and they are of some help, but there's still a couple of parts that I'm not sure on the colour codes for. So I give up and I go to a Honda dealership and said, look, I'm trying to order the parts. I really need to know which parts I need. And to be fair, despite the reputation of this particular Honda dealership, they cheerfully give me the part numbers. Tell me precisely which type number I need and so on. That's very cool of you. Except for one part where they've changed from Type 1, Type 2, Type 3 to... sorry, Type A, Type B, Type C it was, I beg your pardon. To actual colour code numbers. None of which are white because the part is black. But each of the three colour options for the bike has a slightly different colour part, apparently. Slightly different black. So I made a guess on that one, based on the names of the colours that were given. and the colour codes and matched it all up and thought, you know what, it's probably that. So that's what I went with, and it turns out that appears to be the right colour as well, so that's all good. Except I go to pay, put my order in, go to pay on this website, and it says the order's too big for PayPal to accept it. PayPal apparently only does £1,500. There's no other way to pay on this website other than PayPal, so fine. I have to split the order into two. That means I'm paying postage twice. Never mind. Put two separate orders in. Great. Now I am making also a bit of a guess. Jesus. On, because a couple of parts are engine parts, engine covers, so I need gaskets for them. So I make some educated guesses on gaskets, which is probably a bad idea. But basically all the parts are ordered, and I put that through, and yeah, wait for them to confirm it. Anyway, about a week later, get an email from them. One of the orders is on its way. Brilliant. The other order, they've checked with their suppliers. They don't have any parts in order, so in stock. So they check with their suppliers. Their suppliers do not have any in stock, so they have checked with Honda. And one part is on back order to Honda, not to the supplier, not to the shop, to Honda, Honda UK. Honda UK don't have any of this part. Fortunately, it's a minor part, and after another week, I think it was, they actually sent the order without the one part that I'm waiting for. Now the actual insurance, well, the personal injury thing is just about being settled at this point. I've agreed an offer. That's about all I can say on that one. But the real problem now is, well, two things have happened. One, my insurance for the 500 has run out. So I had to reinsure it, and because it was an outstanding claim, they claim that as a fault claim rather than a no-fault claim. So my insurance went up because they hadn't sorted the claim out in a speedy fashion. Thank you. Thank you, solicitors and insurance companies. You have cost me more money. So, there's that. The second thing to have happened is that the MOT has run out. It's now 3 years old, it needs its first MOT. So even though I've now got the parts and I've done my best to put the parts on myself, and honestly, if you have a 2019 or later CBR 500R, can I just recommend wholeheartedly that you do not try it? Just my personal opinion. But I now cannot ride it until the MOT is done. So I've had to book that in for an MOT, which hasn't happened yet. I wanted to ride it today, although this road is a wee bit mucky for a white sports bike. But yeah, can't ride it, no MOT. Now for those of you who are familiar with MCE, and there may be a few of you at this point, MCE is split into two parts. There's the broker and there's the underwriter. Now for those of you who've heard that MCE have now gone under, they're broke, got no money, into administration, liquidation, etc, etc. Yes and no. The broker is still alive and well. The underwriter is dead as a door. Dead. Just gone. Just, yeah, no more. Cease to be. So yes, you can still get insured with MCE, but you're only dealing with the broker, not the underwriter. This bike was still insured by MCE. The 500, when the insurance renewal came up, I deliberately chose not to renew it with MCE. Deliberately. Because of this whole episode. And I don't know whether my dealings were with the broker or with the actual insurer, the underwriter. I have a feeling it's the broker, and if that's the case, I don't want to touch MCE with a barge pole. If they don't have a department that can deal with claims on the only type of insurance they were offering me, I don't want to know. They're basically saying, we want to charge you a lot of money for a piece of paper that makes it legal for you to ride on the road, but we're not prepared to do anything that would help you in the event that you need our services. So, as you can imagine, I'm no longer with them on the 500. And as of tomorrow, because that'll be the 1st of February, I won't be with them on this bike either. I've found another insurer, and I'm going with them, and they're actually competitively priced. You know, third-party MCE or fully comp with another company. I'm going to choose fully comp. I seem to have been much better off than some people in that debacle. But I'm not happy at all. So, yeah. That's the story of the insurance. As I say, it's 5 months on, my bike is still not on the road. But it is nearing an end. And yeah, I can only say, if third-party fire and theft and fully comp are close by way of price, go fully comp. I would also say, make sure you do your research on who you're being insured by. I like this road. Anyway, I'm sure you guys have had tales of woe about insurance companies. I can't imagine anyone is completely clean unless you're a new rider. New driver, etc., very young. And aside from the hoo-ha recently about MCE, have any of you out there actually had bad experiences with them? I looked up some reviews on them after this had started, and I should have done it straight away when I was being insured by them in the first place. But you look at the reviews, and for MCE they were either 5-star or 1-star. There's very few in between. The 5 stars were, wow, really cheap price, awesome. Which may or may not have been true reviews. The 1-stars tend to be, yeah, don't have an accident. If you're insured by these clowns, don't have an accident. That's what the reviews are saying, that's not my opinion. Yeah, I'm not impressed. But hopefully I won't need to call on the insurance services again. You know, that's the plan. It didn't take as long to go through that insurance minefield as I thought it would. I've got this long trip, and it's basically now done. But anyway, so there you go. So that's enough of my insurance ramblings. I hope you've learned something from it. I don't know what, but aside from don't trust insurance companies, I guess. Church Broughton, huh? I'm sure I used to watch videos of someone who'd go around looking at churches. And it like he was a biker, but on some of his videos, his destination would be a church, or he'd stop off on the way to have a look round and that sort of thing. Oh! Looks a bit muddy and horrible. Okay, so hints and tips for getting insurance, and I haven't really thought about this before I started it, so I may miss bits, but as I mentioned when talking about insurance, yeah, do some research on the company that you're being insured by. You know, basic sort of reviews and stuff, and don't just look at the positive ones or the negative ones. Try and take a view of all of them. 2, read the documents. It's important. There are some very key things that a lot of people miss. For example, if you told them you're going to put your bike in a garage, regardless of whether you are, if that's what you've told them, on your insurance document it will say something along the lines of, between 11 PM and 6 AM when your bike's at home, it must be in the garage. It might even go as far as to say that it needs to be in a brick-built structure with a solid roof. Ask me how I know. So, definitely pay attention to that sort of stuff. You will sometimes find in there things like, if you have an accident less than 2 miles from home, you will not get recovered. You may not even be able to make a claim. The theory behind this is that when you're nearly home after a day at work, you're most likely, or even after a long trip before come back from holiday, whatever, see parents, I don't know, the most likely time for you to have an accident is when you get to about 2 miles from home. You begin to switch off. That's when accidents happen. If you have breakdown coverage, have a check what breakdown coverage you've actually got. There's a good chance... Jesus. Fucking hell. So I spent most of that braking zone sliding. Isn't that nice? Anti-lock brakes. Anyway. Oh. Jesus, time to clear my trousers. Right. So, yes, if you've got breakdown coverage, and this was noted in someone else... Who was it who did it? Fat lad on a bike. I'm sure it's Fat lad on a bike. He discovered the hard way. Most inclusive breakdown coverage is only to a set distance. I think in most cases that's 20 miles. So if you are more than 20 miles from home, you may not be covered for breakdown, even though you've paid for it, or even though it's included in your policy. And that can get expensive, because they'll arrange for you to get recovered, but you are going to pick up the bill. They might pay for the last 20 miles or the first 20 miles, but you're going to pay for the rest. So, a lot of policies will then have a little add-on thing. And that little add-on thing will be, maybe it includes European coverage, maybe it's within a certain distance, maybe it's just the whole UK, whatever. So yeah, definitely make sure you know what your breakdown coverage actually is, and indeed what your insurance coverage is, because not all insurance covers going into Europe. Sometimes it's only 90 days, sometimes it's one trip to a maximum of 90 days. Keep an eye on that. Always read the documents. Always. Do not just buy the cheapest insurance. If you're one of these people who is definitely never going to have an accident ever, volunteer to excess as much as possible. It will reduce your quote. Not by much, I'll grant you. But if you're never going to crash, you're never going to pay the excess, and therefore you're going to save money. If you should have a crash. And one of the things they offer you is a hire bike. Be careful what you sign for. The insurance company will in most cases get a bike hiring company to deliver a bike to you. They will give you what you might think is a delivery document. It is not a delivery document, it is a hire agreement. This is an important thing to note. You are not signing to say you have received the bike. You are not signing to say the bike is in good condition. You are not signing to say that you are happy with the bike that you have got. You are signing to pay the bill. Be careful what you sign for. Now, I will be saying, in fairness, this is standard procedure, and if you are not at fault, you will not pay that hire agreement. Well, most of the time. When they ask you if you want a hire bike, that's why they ask you if you want a hire bike, not we will provide you with a hire bike. It's if you want one, or would you like one, or if you need one, or so on or so forth. So when they do ask you that question, do you need a hire bike? Before you say, yes, I'd love a hire bike, think about it for a minute. Because the other insurance company, assuming you're not at fault, is only going to pay for that bike if you need it. In other words, if they did a search somehow and found, or if you admitted at some point that you had another bike that you could have used in place of the one that's on the road, you could end up paying that bill. Even if you're not at fault. Your insurance company, if you're at fault or partially at fault, your insurance company could say, we're not paying for that bill. And if your insurance company says that, the other side is going to go, well, we're not paying for it then. And you get left with a bill because you signed the agreement to say that you were liable for it. Liable doesn't mean you will pay it. It just means if no one else does, you're the one footing the bill. When I had my first accident, back in 2019, and they said to me, do you have any other form of transport? Do you need a hire bike? And I said, I have another bike, which was true, I had this one, but it's on a mileage deal. So, you know, I've only got so many miles. It was on a PCP. I've only got so many miles before I have to start paying for the miles on it. So he says, yeah, no problem. And I got a hire bike, CB125F. You still have to pay for fuel on that thing. Anyway, I didn't pay the bill on that because I wasn't at fault, and the other insurance company obviously figured that it was a fair claim, because I would have been inconvenienced by not having the hire bike, because I would have put miles on this bike that I might have ended up having to pay for. With this latest accident, they said, do you want a hire bike? And I said, to be honest with you, I have another bike. And there's nothing that I can do on one bike that I can't do on the other. Well, except for shopping, and obviously it's the wrong way around for shopping. I can do the shopping on this one. I can't really do it on the 500. Not to the same degree. So he said, to be honest, we can still offer you a hire bike, but you will be likely to pay for it, because the other side could turn around and say you don't need it. So yes, if you get asked if you want a hire bike, bear in mind, unless it's clear cut no fault and you have no other option, consider whether you want to say yes or not. I would say be honest. Do you need it? Would you be inconvenienced by not having it? Would be another way of saying it. Because it is you that's liable. Well, coming up to my pit stop now for this trip, and this is as far as I take you, because I don't, you know, I don't want you to see my hands, frankly. So here we go, Super Sausage Cafe. Yeah. Yeah. Time for some food. Yeah, so I would say, if you're in the vicinity of the Super Sausage Cafe, and it is open, which it is at the moment, it is right now, they are well worth stopping in for some food. Well worth it. Top quality nosh. Anyway, I'm going to continue on my journey, and I shall see you in another video at some point. Perhaps one detailing my trip back, who knows. Anyway, until then, be good humans. Ta-ta for now.